It is hump day again. Wow. This week has gone by so fast. It seemed like I was just doing a Welfare to Wednesday video 2 days ago. But we are in a whole nother week, so welcome to From Welfare to Winning Wednesday. And I'm glad that you guys were able to come in and share my moments with me. Listen, on Monday, Momentum Monday, I had expressed that I was going to talk about something that was very pivotal to getting out of debt, which is the Dave Ramsey Baby Steps. So I want to get into it and talk about, do they really work? And mostly, do they work for us, our community? Listen, I think that they work. Let me just put that out there. But I was thinking about tweaking it a little bit. So I'm going to tell you why I was thinking about whether or not I should tweak it a little bit. So I have a close to $50,000 in debt. That includes my car, an old student loan, back taxes to the IRS, back state taxes, some personal loans, and credit card, right? So the first thing is saving $1,000 emergency fund. But before I could even get to that, I need to increase my income. Which, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that that's what I'm working on. I quit the caregiving job. I started the caregiving job thinking I could make more money along with doing my gig work, like Walmart Spark Delivery. And I got the caregiving job, and I was working for two companies. And I was thinking, if I can work for those two companies and do the Spark Delivery, I can increase my income. Well, fast forward, I found like I was losing more money because although I was working for these two caregiving companies, they were giving me specific, they weren't giving me enough hours and they weren't paying enough. So I ended up leaving them and going full-time with Spark. Watch my other video for that. But, so once I get the income up, then there's that $1,000 emergency fund. Well, and then after that, the baby steps where you start to pay off debt. So once I get to the $1,000 emergency fund, what debt does Dave say we should pay off first? Well, he tells us to pay off our smallest debt, to go from smallest to largest. So pay off the smallest, knock that out, go to the next smallest, knock that out, next smallest, knock that out, and keep going like that, right? Which makes plenty of sense. So let me tell you why I was thinking that might not be the best for me. So I owe IRS, and let me back up before I talk about that, because Dave also says that if you owe the IRS, that debt comes first, not the smallest debt. To pay off the IRS, because they can do garnishment and seize assets and do all those kind of things, right? So that's one point where you don't start from smallest to largest when you owe the IRS. So here I am thinking, okay, I owe the IRS, but I also have a car that I'm paying a car note on and paying insurance and, of course, the gas. But the reason I'm talking about the car first is because even if I increase my income, or when I increase my income, that car payment, my car payment is $450. My insurance is $300. So right there, that's $750 for the car that I'm driving. Now I'm upside down in the car because the car, I owe the balance of like $13,000. The car is only worth, I think it's, the last time I checked, it said something like $8,000. So there's that. And he always says, well, you know, maybe you can sell the car, get a loan, pay off the difference and you know, buy a beater or whatever. Well, that's not an option for me because my credit is shot. Because I can't get a loan to pay off the difference and enough to buy another car. I might as well pay off the car that I have, right? So now I was thinking, rather than attacking the IRS debt first, that if I could go after the car note and pay that off in chunks and pay that off first, that would free up $750 a month. Well, maybe $600, depending, because once you pay it off, then I can get cheaper insurance on it, of course. So I was thinking that if I paid that off, that would at least free up, let's say, maybe $600 a month to start putting towards the IRS debt. And I was thinking that way because right now I've reached out to the IRS and I asked for a what do they call it? They call it a I'm trying to think of the word, a hardship. So I reached out to them and told them, hey, I'm not making that much money. I can barely pay, you know, for my everyday expenses. Is there any way that I can get a delay on paying? And so I submitted to them my income and my financial responsibilities, the utilities, car note, blah, blah, blah. And they granted that to me. So what they said to me was, okay, we're going to place this on hold for a year. You can still make payments towards it, but we're not going to come after you or your bank accounts or anything. I believe they said it was for a year. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can just make small payments towards them, throw something towards them every month to let them know that I am interested in paying it off. But then I could take the bulk of the money and start throwing it towards this car payment and getting that down. Maybe I can pay the car off in about a year if I throw them an extra $1,000 or $1,500 a month. So roughly, you know, if I go hard at it, I can get them paid off in maybe a year to, maybe a year, 14 months, something like that. So that was my thought. Is it ever a good idea to do the baby steps in a way that fits your budget, if it makes sense, right? So Ramsey has this thing called Ask Ramsey. It's their AI tool where you can go in and you can type in your information. And so I put the same exact thing in there. But they told me, oh no, you need, go ahead and pay. You gotta pay towards the IRS because once that hold is lifted, they can come after you and they can seize this or that and the other. And that makes sense too. So Personally, I can do that, and still try to throw extra money towards the car. So what I am going to do is I am going to make the effort to pay the IRS something every month. But I personally think if I can get out from under this car, that it would be better for me to get rid of the rest of the debt, because the car, like I said, is $13,000. I think the student loan is $8,000. The taxes are somewhere around $9,000 or $10,000. You've got the credit cards and all that, close to a $9,000 to $10,000 thing. But anyway, I don't want to make up my own rules. I do want to follow Dave Ramsey's advice, because I know the baby steps work. I listen to his show, and it makes sense. So I want to follow that, but at the same time, I just think every time I get in that car, every time that car note comes up, I get so much anxiety. So much and the insurance on it, I've extended the car payment, and so I put some of those payments I had to tack on to the back of the loan, because I was struggling so much. So it extended my loan, and then I'll have a balloon payment when it's time to pay it off, close to $6,000, which isn't good. So I've been talking to them about that, and they said if you throw more money, if you make larger payments or throw extra money every month towards the car, towards that'll knock that down. So I'm supposed to be done with the car in January of 2028. And at that time, if I don't put anything extra towards it, I could be facing a $6,000 balloon payment, where I would have to pay them that all up front in order to get the title to the car. So you see how messed up my life is? You see how messed up my finances are right now. But this is Welfare to Winning Wednesday. And I want to talk to you guys, because somebody's finances aren't as messed up as mine. If I can get this done, you can get it done. And set yourself up for peace, for financial peace. And I'm not talking about financial peace to the point where you're a millionaire or you become wealthy. Because although that's what Dave Ramsey tells us that we can do, financial peace for us in our community is not having to worry about a repossession, a foreclosure, a light being turned off, water being shut off, not being able to have gas money, struggling to buy food, taking care of our families. That's what financial peace looks like for our community. Not that it can't look like wealth or becoming a baby steps millionaire. Not that that's not possible for our community. But what I found was the baby steps, if we take them and just get out of debt first. And focus on getting out of debt. Not thinking, man, if I can get out of debt now and just become a millionaire, I would be great. Because that actually discourages me. Anytime I think about something that seems so far off. In survival mode, we're worried about today. Right? We're worried about trying to survive today. And that is not peace. And so move from survival mode to thriving. And once you start thriving, then we can see our way to the next level and the next level and the next level. But most people don't start trying to get out of debt and don't start trying to get out of survival mode because they say, what's the use? I'll never be rich. I'll never be wealthy. I'll never have a paid for house. I'll never be able to buy a car in cash. So why even start? But the attitude we should have right now is to focus on what we can do to get out of the debt, to get out of survival mode, to find the first stage of financial peace, which is not worrying about your basic needs. Knowing that every month you have more than enough money to cover your basic needs. If your basic needs are $2,000 and you have $3,000, your basic needs are $2,000 and you make $4,000, then you know you've got that extra $1,000 or $2,000 as a cushion. And once that starts to feel good and secure, then we can move to the next step. So that's where I am today. I just wanted to come on and talk about my personal circumstance with my vehicle and the on the IRS and what I see as a good fit for me. So I am going to focus on paying off the IRS debt, but because I have that little bit of cushion, the bulk of my money I'm going to throw towards my car. That way, by the time the extension is over, I have more money to pay them if I haven't already paid them down as well. I can talk to them and make sure that they don't come garnishing. So I am going to make that effort. I'm working towards, by the end of May, having to increase my income. I told you I wanted to do at least $1,000 a week in Spark Delivery. So I'm pushing for that. We're going to see how that goes. And I will let you know. But this has been another Welfare to Winning Wednesday. Thank you guys for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Like this video. Share the video with those in our community. Listen, whether you're a single mother or a single person, if you are struggling and you want to make changes in your life, this is the community where you can do it. You're going to be encouraged. I'm also going to be coming out with some practical things that we can do just to help us get started, right? So I do thank you for following me on this journey. this journey is healing me financially, emotionally, and it's allowing me to come out from behind the shame, because I know there's other people out there that's like me. So I will see you on Friday for Freedom Friday, where we can chat it up. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good Wednesday. Bye.